Good evening, everyone. It is Wednesday, March the 24th. I was going to say the 21st. Good evening, everyone. It is Wednesday, March the 24th, 2021. It is currently 6:25 p.m. Central Time. I'm laughing because when it comes to numbers, I cannot remember numbers. You can give me some philosophical concepts and ideas I can remember years later, but numbers, I have said the date today. I don't even know this is like live broadcast number 6, number 7, number 8. I don't even know how many live broadcasts I've done today. And I get ready to say the date, and it's like March the 20, it's a number. I'm going to forget it. It's March the 24th, 2021. It is 6:25 p.m. Central Time. Typically, well, I can't even say typically, we are slowly getting back into the idea of having in-person services. So tonight at about, 6:45, who am I kidding? At about 7:05, people would typically show up for our Wednesday evening service. Yeah, kind of a little joke, a little bit serious, but yeah, people would probably show up around 7:05 for our Wednesday evening service. But tonight that is not occurring. So here I sit once again inside the empty sanctuary here at Victory Baptist Church. And I've got to ensure that the people of Victory Baptist Church have plenty to choose from. And they've got a lot to choose from. If they open up their app, they can look under the Theology Central podcast. They can look under the VBC Bible Institute podcast. They've got plenty of things to choose from to listen to tonight. But what I wanted to do right now was go to 1 Corinthians 13 to kind of work on an exercise of Lectio Divina, to try to get everyone working on using that format of Lectio Divina on 1 Corinthians 13, verses 1 through 8, which I gave everyone as an assignment. But I don't know how many people at Victory Baptist Church have heard that discussion on Lectio Divina, or if they're behind. So I didn't want to throw that out there on a Wednesday night. And then they're like, wait, I didn't listen to anything about Lectio Divina. I don't even know how to do it. So I'll have to do that on Friday. We'll spend some time in 1 Corinthians 13 working on a Lectio Divina exercise. Right? We'll work on that. But so tonight I wanted to return to a Bible study exercise. Remember how the Bible study exercises are designed. They are designed for the people to take. I'm going to get you so far, and then I'm like, done. It's all yours. Now, it always makes it difficult because I want to go into full teaching mode, and sometimes I do some of the Bible study exercises. People have emailed me and said, you basically did all of it. I'm sorry. I tried not to. Some people like, you didn't do anything. Why do you want me to do it all? And it's like, well, because it's a Bible study exercise, right? I don't want you to be a passive listener. I want you to be an active student. So we're going to be looking at a passage of Scripture that is pretty straightforward, but as usual, sometimes what is straightforward, if we really ask some good Bible study questions, gives us plenty to think about, plenty to discuss. So we're going to look at it, all right? And we're going to begin tonight by having you write down a definition to a very well-known word, a word that you probably don't need to write down the definition to, but I want you to have the definition down because I really want you to think about it, because we're going to be doing a Bible study exercise tonight. I probably should have just put the text of Scripture, but we're going to be talking about the subject of patience. Patience, all right? But we're really not doing a topical study. We're really doing a textual study where the subject of patience comes to the forefront, all right? So maybe it's a little misleading the way we've done this, but I think it will all work out, all right? So here we have the definition of patience, all right, from the dictionary. Patience, the capacity to accept or tolerate delay, trouble, or suffering without getting angry or upset. Now, I like the fact that it uses a lot of different things because a lot of people say, well, I'm a patient person. Yeah, you're a patient person if there's delay. You could care less if you get anywhere on time. You could care less if the plans gets changed. You're completely patient in that way. Oh, but a little bit of suffering comes into your life, and all of a sudden you get angry and you get upset and you get bitter and you get depressed and you get discouraged. So you may be patient in one way, so always be very hesitant to start patting yourself on the back. I'm a patient person. You're not patient at all. Be very careful because you may be patient in one area and maybe not so patient in another area. I like the fact that the dictionary brings in a lot of different ideas here. So the capacity, so being patient or having patience is having the capacity to accept or tolerate delay. Oh, I'm not good at that. Trouble, not so good at that. Suffering, without getting angry or upset. So how is your patience? How patient are you? But what we really want to know is what does James chapter 5, verses 7 through 8 have to say in regards to this subject? But I think we're not going to get very far here. And I hopefully you'll be willing to do this work. As always with the Bible study exercises, please know, and I say this first and foremost to the members of Victory Baptist Church, we have a chat feature, right? The Slack chat channel for members of Victory Baptist Church only, all right? That's only for you guys. The Bible study exercises are really designed first and foremost with you in mind, so I want you to communicate with me with the Bible study exercises. If you don't, then the Bible study exercises really become about everyone else listening, which is great. But I do these first and foremost, especially when I do them on a Wednesday night or a Sunday night or a Sunday morning when we're not having an in-person service. They were specifically designed for the members of the church. So please, if you do the Bible study exercises, share what you got, what you found, share it with everyone else. Because it's very beneficial and helpful, and it's encouraging to me that you know you're doing that, right? So here we go. You ready? James chapter 5. You've got the definition for patience. Let's look at verse 7 and 8. 7 and 8. All right. Now we're not going to get very far because we're going to look at 3 words of verse 7. Are you ready? Be patient, therefore. Stop right there. Be patient, therefore. Be patient, therefore. Now, I'm going to make sure. Give me 1 second. I'm going to look up every translation on planet Earth, all right? See how they all handle this. The New International Version, be patient then. Dear New Living Translations, dear brothers and sisters, be patient as you wait for the Lord's return. All right, that doesn't really seem to connect it with anything before. ESV, be patient, therefore. Berean Study Bible, be patient then. The Berean Literal Bible, therefore be patient. The Berean Literal Bible starts with the therefore. Therefore, based off something said before, be patient. New King James Version, therefore be patient. New American Standard, therefore be patient. New American Standard, therefore be patient. New American Standard 1977, be patient, therefore. Amplified Bible, so wait patiently. Christian Standard, therefore, brothers and sisters, be patient. Holman Christian Standard Bible, therefore, brothers, be patient. American Standard Version, be patient, therefore. All right. Dewey Reams, be patient, therefore. The English Revised Version, be patient, therefore. The Good News Translation, be patient, then. So it seems most of the English translations clearly seems to imply that this command to be patient, first and foremost, is being given based off something that has come before. So here's what we're going to do. First, I'm going to do this for you. Let's look up patient as used here in James chapter 5, verse 7. Be patient, therefore. Before we're going to go in the order of the King James. It starts with be patient, telling you to be patient. We've got the English definition of patience. Let's look at the Greek word for patience here, or patient here, and see if it carries the same meaning of the English, all right? So let's do that. Let's pull up the Blue Letter Bible app, go to James chapter 5, verse 7, interlinear. It's thinking. The interlinear is thinking here. Give me 1 second. Come on. Let me go back. James 5, 7. Right? Interlinear. Okay. It's taking its time. The interlinear doesn't want to work this evening, okay? I may have to make you do this. I was going to do this for you. I'm hoping we haven't lost internet connection here. Right? Be patient. Here we go. Interlinear. Oh, there we go. Okay. All right. Be patient, therefore. All right. So the Greek word for patient is this word. Here's the Greek word for patient that comes from as it's used in James 5:7. All right. Here is the Greek word.
Strong's G 3114. Makrathumeo. Makrathumeo.
Makrathumeo. Makrathumeo. Makrathumeo. We can all practice saying that. Makrathumeo. Makrathumeo. So if for young people listening, if your parents are not showing patience, say, Mom, you need a little bit more of makrathumeo in your life. If you're irritating your teacher and your teacher doesn't show patience, you can say you need a little bit of makrathumeo in your life. If my dog doesn't show patience tonight when I get home, you need a little makrathumeo. If Stacy doesn't show patience tonight, I'll say you need a little makrathumeo in your life. And of course, no one would ever dare say that I need any makrathumeo in my life, because I am the epitome. I am the standard of patience, right? Okay, maybe not, all right? And I am not the standard of lying too, right? Okay, so makrathumeo. Now, what does makrathumeo mean? Well, it is translated, it's used 10 times. It's translated be patient, have long patience, bear long, suffer long, be long-suffering, patiently endure. The outline of biblical usage of makrathumeo is to be of a long spirit, not to lose heart. All right, this is the idea of not becoming discouraged. This is an aspect of patience we don't often think about. Being patient means not becoming discouraged, not losing heart. Do you become discouraged when things are not going your way? If that's just because you're patient in other areas, like, oh, someone's running behind the thing, it's okay. Well, great. But then the minute when things go bad, you become very discouraged. That's not patience. So you may be patient in one area, but not in other. So it's not to lose heart, to preserve patiently and bravely, enduring misfortunes and troubles. To preserve patiently and bravely, enduring misfortunes and troubles. You can endure misfortunes and troubles, and you preserve patiently. To be patient and bearing the offenses and injuries of others. Now makrathumeo takes on a whole different meaning. How patient are you when you are suffering the offense and injuries of other people? All right. How well do you suffer that? There's a situation that is developing with me and someone in my family where there was this property left to us after my father died. It was kind of just given over to us. We won't even get into the way that all went down. Next thing you know, we have this property. Next thing you know, hey, you're responsible for the property taxes. I'm like, whoa, slow down. How did this happen? And then we were going to sell the property. And then my sister was like, no. How dare you? And so we're like, okay, you can have it. She did pay to buy the property for me and my brother. She got it. And next thing you know, I get a bill for the property taxes. And I'm like, wait, in fact, they haven't been paid in I don't even know how long. And so they're behind. At this point, I don't know if my sister's going to pay it. If she doesn't pay it, one, I've got to come up with the money to pay for it, which is not going to be, that's going to be frustrating and difficult. But makrathumeo would say that if she doesn't pay this, right? She doesn't pay this, then guess what? then I need to be patient in bearing the offense and injuries of others. I'm suffering a financial injury at the hands because of my sister. If she doesn't pay this, and then we're stuck with the property, I don't know what me and my brother is going to do with it. We got to find a way to sell it, I guess. And I don't know if she's going to get upset. We've got a lot of possible family drama getting ready to develop. And let me tell you, I'm trying to be patient, but I'm like, she better pay this or, and then I'll go off on some full-blown rant, saying all kinds of crazy things. A lot of time that's just a rant. But the point is, I'm not going to be very patient. Macrothumeo said, I'll be patient dealing with that. Now, you may sit there and go, how ungodly? And you're right. I'm an ungodly sinner, but I'm pretty sure I'm talking to other ungodly sinners. Okay. Pretty sure of that. I doubt there's anyone going, no, I would be completely okay if I got stuck with property taxes to property that I thought someone else owned. I haven't been on the property and I don't even know how many years, have nothing to do with the property, don't want anything to do with the property, want to be done out of my life. And next thing you know, your name is still on it. My name is still on it. This is on you. And I'm like, well, how did this happen? All right. So Macrothumeo deals with not losing heart, enduring misfortunes, and bearing the offense and injuries of others, to be mild and slow in avenging. Mild and slow in avenging. Now, I think most cases I am slow in avenging an action. I'm not slow avenging in my mind because I usually come up with every way that I would like to carry out my revenge. Okay, but to be long suffering, slow to anger, slow to punish. Are we slow to anger and slow to punish? Macrothumeo, patient. So we are told in James 5, be patient. Now, right there is enough to convict you, and you need to start asking yourself, and look up all the scriptures where macrothumeo occurs. I can give you this list. It occurs 10 times in 9 verses. Matthew 18:26. Matthew 18:26, Matthew 18:29, Luke 18:7, 1 Corinthians 13:4, true love is macrothumeo. True love is macrothumeo. It suffers long. 1 Thessalonians 5:14, Hebrews 6:15, James 5:7, James 5:8, and 2 Peter 3:9. Right? Macrothumeo is used in Matthew 18:26, Matthew 18:29, Luke 18:7, 1 Corinthians 13:4, 1 Thessalonians 5:14, Hebrews 6:15, James 5:7, James 5:8, 2 Peter 3:9. Macrothumeo, how evident is that in your life? Can people see macrothumeo, or they can just hear you saying how patient you really are? A lot of people claim they have so much patience, and then in some area they demonstrate. I think that's the way it is. I think in every person, there are some areas we are very patient in, and there's some areas that we're not very patient in. Some people are really good when things get really, really bad, they can patiently endure it. They may do some complaining and grumbling, but they really endure it. They don't get too discouraged. They don't get too down, and they seem to be pressing forward. Other people get very discouraged, very depressed, very down, and they don't endure some of these things that we just talked about. Macrothumeo. Now, there, I did some of the work for you. Now, here's where you got to put your thinking caps on. Be patient, therefore. Be patient, therefore. Now, it seems James, based off what comes before, and I'm going to argue that what comes before has to come in James chapter 5, verses 1 through 6. Based off what comes in James chapter 5, verses 1 through 6, what is it in James 5, 1 through 6 that leads him to say, be patient, therefore? What is it that leads him to tell them to be patient? All right. Now, we should ask, be patient for what? But we're not going to talk. We're breaking the text down in the order it's given. First, be patient. Macrothumeo, you've got a better idea of what that means. Right? Macrothumeo, you've got a better idea of what that means. You really need to think about that and see if it's really evident in your life. But we have to ask ourselves, why is James giving them the command to be patient? What is it in verses 1 through 6 that's leading to this command? All right, so we're just going to briefly read this. James 5, starting in verse 1. Go now, ye rich men, weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you. Your riches are corrupted, and your garments are moth-eaten. Your gold and silver is cankered, and the rust of them shall be a witness against you, and shall eat your flesh as it were fire. You have heaped treasure together for the last days. Whoa, those are some serious warnings to those who are rich. That sounds like some serious warnings here. All right, what has that got to do with us being told to be patient? Verse 4, behold, the hire of the laborers who have reaped down your fields, which is of you kept back by fraud, crieth, and the cries of them which have reaped are entered into the ears of the Lord of Sabaoth. All right, so there are people out there crying out that you ripped off. You kept back, as it says, behold, the hire of the laborers who have reaped down your fields, which is of you kept back by fraud. They kept things back from them. They kept back what was owed to them. And they're crying out. And their cry has reached the ears of the Lord of the Sabaoth. Verse 5, you have lived in pleasure on the earth and been wanton. You have nourished your hearts as in a day of slaughter. You have condemned and killed the just, and he doth not resist you. Be patient, therefore. That's like whiplash. Like, whoa, what just happened there? What just happened? Let me read it in a different translation here. Let's see if we get some kind of an idea. It seems like a major whiplash. Like, wait, what just happened? Who's he telling to be patient? Who's he telling to be patient? Is he telling the rich people to be patient? It sounds like massive judgments coming upon them. What are they being patient for? Right? Let's go back in the NIV. All right, now this is how the NIV reads, verse 5. You have lived on earth in luxury and self-indulgence. You have fattened yourselves in the day of slaughter. You have condemned and murdered the innocent one who was not opposing you. Be patient then, brothers and sisters, unto the Lord's coming. Now, clearly, it seems that he's speaking of the condemnation of the rich in verses 1 through 6. And then he says, brothers and sisters, therefore you be patient. Is he telling, and I'm trying not to give too much away, is he telling them, you be patient, you endure patiently all of the wrongs done to you by the rich who have taken advantage over you, have done things to you. You be patient, therefore, and endure that in a patient way, not taking vengeance. You do so in a patient way, in a long-suffering way. You endure it and you wait for, and what are they to wait for? You wait for the coming of the Lord. You wait for the coming of the Lord. What exactly do you think is transpiring here in James 5, 1 through 6? What is transpiring there? Clearly, it's a condemnation of the rich. Clearly. I'm looking back. I was going back to James chapter 4, the end of James 4, but James 5, clearly a massive condemnation of the rich. Massive condemnation of the rich. I mean, serious trouble the rich are going to get into. And we could get into a discussion to bring in other podcast episodes. There's an entire, I don't even know what you call it, an entire media operation now that spends all of its time looking at the riches of famous pastors. It takes the clothing they wear when they're preaching and will say, hey, those shoes, $5,000 pair of sneakers on a pastor preaching a sermon, a $3,000 jacket, they have an Instagram account where they show you the pictures of the preachers and they put a price tag showing how rich these preachers are. They've got a podcast now. They've got a book. They got all kinds of things. It's called Preachers, the letter N, Preachers, the letter N, Sneakers, Preachers in Sneakers. They have an Instagram account where they will show pictures of famous pastors and show you, look, their outfit for that Sunday when they preach cost, $3,000. Is that right or is that wrong? There's a clear condemnation of the rich here. And then we could say how rich is too rich for a pastor. We can get into that discussion. But there's a clear condemnation. And it seems to be implying here that when we suffer under the hands of the rich, or for those who take advantage, exploit us, use us, that the appropriate response is long-suffering patient, to endure that, which is one of the meanings of the idea of patience. That's why we went through that. So that seems to be, so I think I want to really establish that, all right? So be patient, all right? Remember the Greek word. Do I need to play it for you? Does everybody remember the Greek word? See, this is where I wish everybody was here at church. And then I could say, do you remember it? And people would be like, I don't remember what you said 5 seconds ago. The Greek word is this. Maybe. The Greek word is this.
Strong's G 3114. Makrathumeo. Makrathumeo.
Makrathumeo. Makrathumeo. Remember, that's the Greek word. Idea of patience. All right, so we are to be patient. We are to be patient. And here the command is specifically given to some people who seems to have faced some kind of injustice at the hands of those who are rich, who have exploited them, misused them, maybe have defrauded them. And it says, look, you be patient. And what are they to be patient for? You be patient for the coming of the Lord. You be patient for the coming of the Lord. So what are they to do? They are to be patient. What are they to be patient for? And why are they to be patient? They are to be patient because of the suffering it seems that they have endured at the hands of the rich. So what are they to do? Be patient. Why are they to be patient? Because they've suffered at the hands of the rich. What are they to be patient for? The coming of the Lord. And how are they to be patient? Or what is this likened to? They are to behold the husbandman, a farmer basically, waiting for the precious fruit of the earth, and hath long patience for it until he receive the early and latter rain. He is to be patient like a farmer waiting for the rain to come. In fact, let me read this from other translations. Here. Other translations state it this way. Be patient then, brothers and sisters, until the Lord's coming. See how the farmer waits for the land to yield its valuable crop, patiently waiting for the autumn and spring rains. Dear brothers and sisters, be patient as you wait for the Lord's return. Consider the farmer who patiently wait for the rains in the fall and in the spring. They eagerly look for the valuable harvest to ripen. So it's giving you the picture, right? It's picturing what this patient should look like. There's the farmer, and he's sitting there waiting for the rains, waiting for the harvest to come forth, for the fruit to ripen so that it can be harvested. He's waiting. We are to wait patiently, just like that farmer is waiting. There's very little control. He can't control the rain. He can't control the weather. He can control the preparing of the soil, the planting of the crop, and then all he can do is wait. He can just wait. Can't do anything else about it, right? Hope it rains. And you got to, especially in a culture where they didn't have, a sprinkler system. They didn't have that. So waiting for the rain, and waits and it hopes. We are to patiently like that. We can't control a lot of things. We are to have that kind of patience waiting for the coming of the Lord. That means when we endure horrible injustices, when we are being exploited and used, we are to patiently wait in a godly way, a godly patience. That's why we really need to understand that Greek phrase we really need to understand what makrothumeo means. We really need to understand makrothumeo because that's the command. So let's break it down. I'm doing more of the work. I was going to leave this into everyone's to do it. I didn't want to do this for everyone, but I've done most of it for you. Okay, but here we go. All right. Okay. I may have one thing to leave for you. Okay, here we go. So what are we to do? We are to be patient. Why are we to be patient? It appears we are to be patient because of the injustices that we may endure living in a fallen world. And in this case, it seems the injustice coming from rich people who had clearly abused and misused people, right? There's judgment pronounced, and we are to be patient even if we've endured all of that, right? So what are we to be patient? Why? Because of the injustices endured. What are we to be patient for? We are to be patient for the coming of the Lord. Now, please note, you're not to be patient for the fact that the rich people are going to all of a sudden make it right and that everything's going to be made right in this life. This is very important. You're not I'm being patient that God's going to work it all out in this life. It may not work out for you in this life. You may die being defrauded and those injustices never being made right. But you wait for the coming of the Lord where he ultimately makes things right in eternity. All right. So sometimes I'm waiting patiently because God's going to make it all right. Oh, maybe not in this life. All right. Maybe not in this life. So what are you to do? Be patient. Why are you to be patient? Because of the injustices, it appears that these individuals had endured at the hands of the rich. What are they to be patient for? The coming of the Lord. How are they to be patient? Like a farmer who's waiting for as they says, the early and latter rains, for the rain to come so the crop can grow and that it can be harvested at the appropriate time. Verse 8, be ye also patient, establish your hearts, for the coming of the Lord draweth nigh. What does it mean to establish your hearts? I want you to work on that phrase. Establish your hearts. What does that mean, and how is it related to patience? Is patience the thing that establishes our heart? Without patience, do you have a heart that's not established? So let's go through this again. What are we to be? Patient. What does that mean? Makrothumeo, remember that Greek word. Remember exactly what it means to be patient. Write down the biblical outline. You should really do this. Write down the biblical outline of patience as found in the interlinear. Put it somewhere where you can remember that's what it looks like. It involves a lot more things than just the things you're strong in. It involves a lot of things. Be patient. Why? Well, in this context, individuals had faced injustices at the hands of rich people. You are to be patient no matter the injustices that you endure in this life. What are you being patient for? Not for those injustices to be made right in this life, but for the coming of the Lord, right? How are you to be patient? Like a farmer. And then lastly, for your own work, your own edification, what does it mean to establish your hearts, and how is that related to patience? What does it mean to establish your hearts, and how is that related to patience? I look forward to seeing your work. You can email it to me at newsif@yahoo.com, newsif@yahoo.com. That's newsif@yahoo.com. I look forward to seeing what you discover. Members of Victory Baptist Church, use the chat. To Sarah Danzler, if she's listening, we still got some work to do in that Romans passage that you brought up such good questions. I've got a commentary from John Gill that I think is interesting, and probably Friday I will try to record that in a special podcast episode. I was going to do that tonight, but I wanted to give us something a little more practical and not so controversial and difficult to figure out. And this, I think, is just a powerful passage of Scripture. Plenty there to meditate on, plenty there to think about. And I look forward to seeing what everyone learned and hearing your feedback from it. All right. I'm going to stop talking because my voice is about gone. So I hope all of these live broadcasts today have benefited someone. Thank you, and everyone have a wonderful night. God bless.